Welcome to my backers audition. My name is Maya and I am a fourth year drama student. So to kick this off, I think I'm gonna kind of give you guys a brief rundown of what's gonna happen. So we're gonna start with the title. I'm gonna explain why I chose to write the musical that I did. I'm gonna do a brief plot synopsis, explain the two lead protagonists, and then we're gonna get into one of the scenes I have written for you guys today, and then the 3 songs. So I think we're just gonna dive right in because that's the only way to really do this. So let's go. The title is called Victoria High, and it's obviously a musical about high school students, and 2 in particular, but we'll get to that in a minute. Firstly, it is important to me because when we were given the opportunity to write about whatever we so wanted for this musical, I thought to myself, what am I going to write about? And one of the first few things that came to mind is high school because it's something that is very relatable. But beyond that, I think high school is such a pivotal time for everyone. It's a time of figuring yourself out and who you want to be and what you want to do in the world. And it's your first kind of real introduction into like entering like the real life. Like you're not going to be in some sheltered community anymore for the most part. And I think that comes with a lot of trial and error. And it kind of does a lot of like trying. And I feel like primarily grade 11 and 12 students, as well as their parents, sometimes can feel like they're failing because of the teenage angst and all the drama and everything that comes with it. But I think it's important to know, at least like my personal experience, is that you're not failing, you're just going along and you're trying to figure everything out, which is fine. So I want to help normalize that, and I think there's no better way to like reach out to a vast audience than through music, because that's what everyone really loves for the most part. I think the next thing that we're going to do is go through the synopsis just to kind of explain like what the show is actually about. And with that being said, through the perspective of our lead protagonist, Angie Smith, she is a cool nerd who longs to make a name for herself in her final year at her small private high school called Victoria High, hence the title. She grew up as a Vancouver native, and she feels like she's wasted her life getting straight A's and spending time with her best friend, Ryan Michaels, who we're going to be introduced to a little bit later. They spend a lot of their time together, both their parents travel for work, and she just feels like it's not what she wants for her last year. She wants to be popular, she wants to be pretty, she doesn't want to be the same nerd, and so she's going through all these changes and she's trying to navigate her life while doing so. She really hates her high school and she's longing for change or a spark, as we mentioned, and it's her last year to do it. She's a senior. So through this, Angie learns that being popular and being a nerd, they both end with her coming home to a semi-empty house. And she feels slightly more lonely without Ryan by her side. I mean, they've been best friends since they were children, and she really feels like she lost a good friend when she decides to switch over and try to become popular. So obviously she goes back to being best friends with Ryan, and she spirals and climbs back down to reality, and she completes her high school experience as she should, where she goes off to her dream school towards the end of the musical, and her and Ryan face the world together, which is how it was meant to be. Yay. So now we're just going to talk about the 2 lead protagonists. We're going to talk about Angie and Ryan briefly, and that will pretty much sum everything up before we get to the songs. So Angela, or Angie Smith, is a senior at Victoria High, obviously. She's a straight A student who wants to be popular. She's part of all the nerdy and scholarly clubs, like the chess team, Mathletes, DECA, which is kind of like a business convention. And she's a competitive dancer outside of the school. She really doesn't have much of a social life except for her childhood best friend Ryan, but she really wants to make a change this year. And on the flip side, Ryan is completely comfortable with himself. He is too a senior. He's just as much of a nerd as Angie, but slightly less involved. He really is only known for his high grades, and on his weekends he spends time with Angie, and when he isn't doing that, he plays his guitar, and he helps his mom around the house. Like, she's a single mom, so he's a pretty good kid. He really wants to go to study music. It's his passion, it's what he loves to do, but his mother is counting on him going to study for pre-med because she thinks that he's brilliant and she wants him to use his full potential, but they have a slightly different opinion, but he's just kind of pushing it off for now and is going to deal with it later. So that kind of sums up Ryan. I think the next thing that we're going to dive into is introduction, and this kind of leads into the opening song, which is called Fresh Off the Boat, but we'll talk more about that in a little bit. So I'm going to read the opening scene, which is just Angie. It's a monologue. It's super quick. And then we're going to dive into the first song. I'll provide a little bit more context, and then the last 2 songs, then we're good. So I have the monologue back here due to faulty printing. So I'm just going to give it a quick read. That was great. And to provide some context, this is Angie. She's in her room in the morning, right before school. It's the first day. All the pre-nervous jitters, and she's like sitting on her makeup table and she's applying her like new makeup routine to make her look pretty. So we're just gonna get right into it. So she starts, breathe. You survived 3 years You've got this. Breathe. It's like the last 3 times. At least I don't need to pick up Ryan now that he has his license. Thank God. And you'll walk in, learn, and walk out. Breathe. I'm coining the phrase 4th time's a charm. Keep your head held high and breathe. It's one less year of popular girls and awful cafeteria food. I could just make my own lunch, but Olga wouldn't be too happy. But this is the home run. Your year to be the best version of yourself. Breathe. No drama, no tears. Only high grades and standards. Eyes on the prize. You're going to get into the school of your dreams. Breathe. Just go with the flow and take the BS with a grain of salt. Just like what seasoning is in Olga's cooking. It's 8 o'clock. It's a 15-minute walk, and you're a senior, which technically means you're allowed to be late. Everyone knows that seniors rank highest in the hierarchy, which means you set the tone this year, so you are fine. Breathe. Remember, confidence is key. It's more important to be pretty than to have pimples, so you get asked to prom. Confidence, Angie, confidence. You're in the same boat as everyone else with a competitive edge because you've got beauty and brains. Breathe. This is your year. Breathe. Okay. Hair, check. Makeup, check. Outfit, check. Let's just dive right in like you always do. So that's kind of the opening scene to introduce Angie as a character and her internal monologue, which kind of like runs throughout the entire play. And at this point, when she's finished her monologue, she is going to stand up from her makeup table and she starts singing the first song, which is called Fresh Off the Boat. So I'm just going to read it out to you. I would sing or speak sing, quote unquote, but I can do any of those things. And if you guys are still watching this, I have so much respect, so thank you, but I'm not going to scare you away with my voice. So we're just going to read it kind of like a poetry style. So let's just kick this off. It's a mirage of middle school bliss, and I don't get why. An A+ doesn't get you a kiss or land you a guy. Sitting there dreaming in a pool of your drool, thinking of ways that you can be cool, and maybe desirable too. It's grade 12 and it sucks, 3 years past being fresh off the boat, with a lump in your throat and absolutely no luck, always stuck on the verge of an undying urge to scream, God, what the fuck? But the hall monitor passes, so we stick to aw shucks, or else it's $5. People think it's all about perfect notes and the perfect grade and the hippest spaces. Who thought it mattered where you bought your coats, what your parents made, or where you got your braces? You're looking around you and your jaw's on the floor. It isn't just bye mom as you walk out the door. Everyone surrounding you has more. It's grade 12 and it sucks, 3 years past being fresh off the boat, with a lump in your throat and absolutely no luck. Always stuck on the verge of an adrenaline surge, screaming, God, what the fuck, I'm still here, I'm still here. And the hall monitor passes, looking quite blue, looks up and sighs, guys, my life sucks too. So just to say, this is like an upbeat, campy kind of like introduction. It really does help set the tone for kind of how Angie views the school and a bit about like what she's feeling in terms of like the way like high school kind of passes, which I think is a pretty general view. Like it goes like 3 years, it's so quick, and you're just like running around, you know, you're doing your course and you kind of like blink and then it's grade 12 and like your life is ahead of you, which is like such a normal and like scary thought at the time. I remember thinking that, so it kind of helps set the tone. It's campy, it's upbeat, and it's fun. So the second song, which I'm just going to read now, is also sung through the perspective of Angie. It's called Super City, and it kind of talks about along the same lines of like how she feels as a last year student and kind of what she's going through, with a bit more like dig at a little bit of the school scene that she's in, because Victoria High is a small private high school, and how she just kind of feels like she fits in. So same deal, can't sing, so we're just going to go ahead and read it. Now is the time where I have to mature. I can't just keep testing my luck. Accepting the fact that I might just suck. Who wants to act like a grade A schmuck? I need to be confident, proud, and sure, but the reality is I'm just insecure. No way that these 4 years prepare you for university. I feel stuck in a wave of endless white crop tops, jerseys, jocks, white girls, and even whiter socks are what count here for diversity. While they smoke in flocks like some video game Super City. 4 years of mystery lunch meat, marching to your own drum, walking to your own beat, then bang. The feel of defeat creeps in, and you feel like you just can't win, and you feel like a piece of scum while the cool kids hang, and your next of kin downs a quart of rum. Nobody knows it's a time of great rejection with mild depression, with vague affection to make you gleam, while you choose your future profession, all at age 18. Doesn't it sound like a dream? Nobody knows it's a time of great rejection with mild depression, with vague affection to make you gleam, while you choose your future profession, all at age 18. Doesn't it sound like a dream? Doesn't it sound like a dream? Okay, and then last but not least, this page would turn. There we go. We have our third and final song for you guys today, which is a love ballad, so you can kind of imagine the tone. It's called Xenon. It's sung from the perspective of Ryan. Just to give some background information, Ryan is in love with Angie. Like he's all that he thinks about, and the two of them throughout the play, they're often in chemistry class. Like that's like the one class they share with each other, and she's in like another world always during the class, and he's like trying to focus and like be super involved. So that's just kind of the tone, and we're just gonna read through it, and that's it, and then we'll wrap it up. So it starts. I remember one day in our chemistry class, you were staring off into space. You were dreaming away. I was just trying to pass. I was writing the formula just in case, but I missed about half of the things on the list, and you started to laugh because the teacher got pissed that he screwed up my graph as our experiment hissed and promptly exploded in my face. I think you laughed at that too. I remember you said that whatever would come, we would always be friends. When you were stuck in your head when I was being a bum, you and I would make amends. And I guess I thought maybe after a while, maybe after you got over Corey and Kyle, maybe I'd get my shot. And you'd say with a smile, I'm not surprised how this ends. I'd pretend as if I never knew. There we are and beyond, like two astronauts in a covalent bond, like two Lewis dots in a valence shell, the last two spots on a Vesper carousel. There we are in a xenon glaze, in an entropic square where we could spend our days. In an endless glare of deep blue lights, in the blinding flare of endless nights, you were always there in my field of view, you were always there when I needed you. So haven't you ever thought of all these years, that you and I might be more than peers, that you and I might be the last lone pair soaring? Am I the only one who's there, who's out on a limb? Have you ever wondered, well, what about him? Is the chemistry here really worth ignoring? I've always been shy of facing the fact that you haven't been thinking this too. The chances that I can make xenon react are higher than me ever dating you. But if I would concede you've been growing apart and saying that what we need is a simple fresh start, maybe indeed, just like xenon, all would be calm if maybe Angie, you'll let me take you to prom. So at the end of the song, he realizes that Angie's the one that he wants to take to prom. She's the only really best fit for him, which is kind of also a relief to her because she's freaking out about it. You know, all she wants is a prom date, and that's like one of the many stresses of high school. So thank you for tuning in. I just wanted to say, I know if you guys won't hear the music yet because I can't sing, but a big shout out to my brother because he helped me write all of this. I just wanted to say thank you. And yeah, I think we're going to sign off right now. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you guys enjoy it.